I screwed up this morning because I thought I was doing something that would be doing myself a favor, but I should have known better because every time I do this, I end up feeling screwed. Nothing diet related, so don't worry about me screwed up on that front. But I've been feeling freaking smashed and way too tired since getting back from LA. So I thought it'd be a good idea to shut my alarm off and sleep in till 6 a.m. this morning. Which I know sounds like a good idea on paper considering how little sleep I got over the weekend, but every single time I sleep in, the same thing happens, which is, yeah, I get a little bit more sleep, but then my workday becomes so compressed and rushed and stressful that by the time I get to the gym, it feels like I'm worse off than had I just gotten up early and been a little bit more tired. And then it's like, because I have so much to do right now, the fact that I slept in means that I'm just going to have to stay up later today to make sure that everything's done. So kind of a null point. So tomorrow, alarm clock going off early because the Seth that gets up at 4 a.m. is a lot better Seth than the one that gets up at 6 a.m. And if you haven't figured it out by now, we are going to be pulling up the floor, not with the expectation of being able to go super heavy considering the state of the cut, but I just want to see how pulls up the floor are doing after the last couple of weeks of rack pulls and good mornings. Because the last couple times I pulled up the floor, mid-back was feeling super exposed, and the hope is that all those rack pulls in the mornings did something positive for that. And plan for these is the powerlifter somewhere deep inside of me is thinking that if it feels really good, might go up to a single. If it feels less good, I'll hold myself to some sub-max reps. So plan A is make sure it feels really good. No, it's only 2 plates, but the amount of bar float there feels very promising. It's feeling pretty good. Miana did yell at me because my head back kind of sucked, so we'll fix that next rep. Okay, harder head pack, better quads. Let's move this well enough that I'm not just stuck to pulling 4 plates today.
And you might be wondering, why would you ever want powerlifting coaching from a guy who's weak as shit right now? Well, before I started this 100 plus pounds of weight loss, I've hit over 2,000 pounds raw in 3 weight classes. But that ain't what matters for coaching, because I'm taking guys from beginner to elite. I've been a part of all-time world records, and I brought countless lifters back from career-ending injuries. I know how to make you better no matter where you're at, so if you don't know what to do with your programming, technique, or what accessories to hit for your weak points, hit that link below and join the team, because I want to give you individualized coaching every single day so that you can reach your potential.
Feels like the rack pulls and good mornings might have worked. Yeah, it's like I just be so assertive with like my T-spine not yielding when I push. And with how good that is feeling right now, may not be the smart choice, but the fun choice is we're committing to doing some singles. Because in the FA-FO equation, I've been fucking around with variations that I think should be helping my pull. So now we gotta find out if they're actually helping, you know? I have no clue how tight to put my belt right now. Gonna go up, but since we are being a little bit stupid today, I'm gonna take a smart jump. And I am extremely aware that this is 210 pounds under my best deadlift in a meet, but I also got to remember that my best deadlift in a meet was at 275 pounds, and I'm currently 230, and last week I missed 545 off a rack pull, so if this moves okay, I'm going to be pretty okay with it. And what I got to be mindful of is that even though this isn't heavy in relation to what I have pulled in the past, I cannot be lackadaisical with how hard I'm pulling into the bar because I'm not as strong as I have been in the past. So we gotta bring it more than I want to for this, but that's what's gonna make it move at least half decent. Definitely better than the rack pull last week, so I think I'm gonna be stupid and go up again. Upon video review, I was flicking my head like an asshole though, so we gotta fix that. Also gonna go for the easy plate loading option. And I guess my job here now is to make sure I don't look stupid for loading this. Also gotta remember to tighten my belt buckle because there's a hole too loose last time. Guess not. So yeah, definitely feel a little bit stupid for putting that on the bar, but you know what? Even if I am very not stoked for missing 160 pounds under my best meat deadlift, I also know that what I have been doing is kind of working because even if strength isn't there, like I know why strength isn't there, like down to 2,100 calories right now on training days, which is not a lot of fuel. And the fact that wedge felt more assertive on the way up, that's kind of telling me that even if it didn't go fantastic, like nothing's fucking gone fantastic in the last like 3 months. So the fact that today didn't go fantastic isn't reason to panic. It's just reason to keep digging into what is necessary. And I got faith in future Seth that if I keep digging into what is necessary, when the food comes back in, things are going to look a lot less sad and pathetic. Because this is not my first time pushing a diet to around this point. Although this is my first time trying to push a diet past this point. And the reason I've never pushed a diet past here is that every time I've tried to get lean in my powerlifting career before, I would get to around here, and around here, stuff does start feeling really shitty. Like barbell lifts just go away. I feel sluggish, I feel weak, feels like nothing's freaking working. And before, feeling like that would make me freak out, make me panic, and that was good enough reason in my head to give up on the diet and just quit and eat a whole bunch of food again. But with the reason I've quit on diets in the past being that I don't like feeling really weak, like the answer isn't going to be just trying to crank in and force it and make it happen because obviously doing that clearly isn't going to work. The answer is just going to be like being more okay with performance dropping and being more okay with not feeling strong because I know that if I want to get past this point and push further in the diet so I can actually get lean enough to have a productive rebound and accomplish what I want to accomplish, like some shitty feels are going to be necessary. So we kind of just got to embrace the shitty feels so we can get where we want to go. And on that note, because we pushed the pendulums pretty freaking hard last week, only going to go up a little bit for the work sets and jam them out quickly so that I can get home and get the rest of my work done for today. And don't get me wrong with what I was talking about in the beginning of the vlog because I freaking love how busy I am right now. I just like being busy while feeling ahead, not behind. Because one of the things I really take pride on with the team is that even though it is like a low cost coaching option, it's definitely not a budget coaching option because my goal with it, with the price that it is to compete with the guys that are charging $300, $400, $500 a month and then give better service than those guys are. Because if I can do that, then there's no reason for anyone not to sign up. And it is so cool seeing the amount of progress that people are making in there. Like that is what has me excited to get up at 4 a.m. every morning except for today to get started on making sure that everything is taken care of in there. And like, even though I don't want to stay up late tonight, like that's what has me excited to stay up late to make sure that everyone in there is on the right track. And you know what? I think we're actually going to go up a little bit because that feels pretty darn okay. We'll see how this feels. If it's like really good, might cut reps short and go up again for a top set. If it's not really good, we'll just dig in here. And I'd say that was good enough to count as a work set for today. Holy. And because hamstrings are still freaking fried from last week's all the way down Nordic adventure, I think we're finally going to pull the trigger and get to try out this kneeling light curl contraption they got in here now. Not sure how heavy I should pick on the stack for the intro set. Just gonna go halfway and hope it doesn't feel like shit. That is so much heavier than I wanted it to be. Okay, quarter stack for the intro. We'll see if it feels good enough that we can go up after we warm her up on here. As long as lefty feels decent, we'll definitely go up if I can figure out how to... Oh, that's neat. Okay, now lefty. And yeah, I think we're definitely going up. That was just a little bit surprising how heavy it felt in the bottom, but I think now that we're used to it, we'll be more than okay. Although I'm not totally sure if I love how many levers I have to pull to change legs, but the feel is very good, so I think we can suck it up and deal with it. And you know what? I think like the biggest thing that I love about training here is most like commercial gym machines, they all feel super freaking easy, but it is very rare to find something here that isn't just freaking heavy and hard. So I'm stoked. I think we'll drop it a little bit for round two so we can just get right back in there for the sake of saving a little bit of time. Man, it is so freaking rare to find a light curl machine that actually like challenges the hardness of a Nordic. So yeah, I am very stoked with that. And now that we got quad stuff pretty much covered, ham stuff covered, time to crank on some horizontal rowing, which I don't think will be all that horizontal because I'm getting on this silly contraption again, which has absolutely zero business feeling as good as it does, because like it's just insane. Because once you get in here and get the feet planted nice and high, the amount of length you can get through the lower lat just feels freaking insane. And again, I'm not trying to touch the stretch median hypertrophy. I'm just trying to be strong at ranges of motion that will help me out. And like, if we're thinking about my back position on a conventional deadlift, like this is pretty similar to how I start my conventional pull up top at least. And if I can get a lot stronger here, the hope is that my lats do better on my conventional pull, but we gotta put a little bit more weight on this sucker. Oops, daisies, did not mean to set it down that hard. And hoping that this is a little bit more appropriate feeling for some work. Oh. Yeah, that is just freaking phenomenal. Like the first time I did this, I was in love because I'd never gotten like this level of mid-back feel on anything. So it is gonna continue to be a staple on the deadlift day. Oh. Gotta work on the dismount though. All right, round two, and plan for this camera angle was that I'm hoping it makes me look jacked and not just fat. So we'll see in the editing room. Oh. 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 Ah. Am stoked. Well, I guess stoke level will be determined by how the back looks on camera because I don't know that yet. And almost forgot that we need to do butt cheek stuff today. So for a change of pace, we're going to give this guy a whirl from the bent knee position. And just so that I'm keeping her in the butt cheeks, I'm going to do my best to not just arch the shit out of the bottom. I'm okay finishing with some spinal extension, but I want to try to make sure that most of it's coming from the hips. And it probably looks worse than it feels because I promise it feels really, really glutey right now. Oh. That was embarrassing how hard that got so quickly. I think we gotta jack this guy up one hole next set for a little bit better feels. It's actually freaking insane how much easier that is for me when I go like legs straight and he gets some ham into it because bend of the knees is like, oh boy, that got heavy. But I'm at least telling myself that it's gonna mean that it should be more better for me if it is harder. So we'll dig in. Whoo! Higher thigh pad does feel better, but probably harder, so I don't know. In utter disbelief with how terrible I am with that, but yeah, that confirms that we should probably do more of these moving forward. And for today's torso slot, now they got more cable options and I don't got to feel like an asshole for taking up an entire cable thingamabobber. Gonna bring back one of my favorite things of all time, good old cable hip flexor raise, just letting the cable pull me back into extension and then pulling up into hip flexion, and these just feel so juicy. And I've talked about this before, but it's not like you need strong hip flexors to powerlift well, or not like you really need like that strong hip flexors to do anything. But I think that some hip flexor training is so important for just maintaining the skill of being able to incorporate your hip flexors into pulling in the bottom of the squat, pulling in the bottom of the deadlift, because if you can use hip flexors for that, your brace is going to be so much better off. And I'm kind of starting to wonder with how the brace feels if this is just what I've been missing. So we're tossing them back in now that I actually have room to do them here. Because like bodybuilding gym, the cable crossover tower things are usually pretty premium real estate. So glad that we got like 4 in here at this point because these feel nice. And I think like if you're doing these at home, the biggest thing I'm looking for is that we're not just like jerking out of the bottom. We're going for a slow, controlled pull and really trying to feel it like deep in the abdomen, and that'll make sure you're actually touching like the psoas and iliacus as you're pulling. Update, hips feel very, very juicy after that. Gonna try to make the conclusion short and sweet because still got to go on the stair mill for half an hour and then get my ass home to make sure everything in the team is covered before the end of the day. But I am freaking stoked with how shitty those deadlifts felt. And I know that kind of sounds stupid, but going off of what I've talked about the last couple of vlogs, it's like the fact that it feels shitty tells me that I'm doing things that I wouldn't have been willing to do before. And one of those big ones is being willing to be okay with it being shitty, and the other is pushing the diet and cardio hard enough that strength is greater. And again, I know that as a powerlifter, as someone that's trying to put up the biggest total possible in the future, it does seem counterproductive to be okay with getting weaker. But the big picture goal right now is that I know that if I get shredded, like lose another 30 pounds of fat, rebound out and put another, 20 something pounds of muscle back on, like shit's going to be pretty good. And then I can do a little bit of a cut to get lean again, and then put another 10, 15 pounds of muscle on top of that. And like, that's going to be the plan moving forward, and how I'm going to be able to execute on my big picture powerlifting goals. And right now is just going through the shitty stuff in the short term so that I can get there. Like, this is the part of the movie where the main character absolutely gets his ass kicked so that he can then figure out what he needs to do better in order to come back and win. And I got to be willing to get my ass kicked in order to come back and win. And that's really how I'm trying to frame things right now. And like, trying to be more excited and more stoked with, feeling like this, like, because feeling like this just tells me that diet's working, and all I got to do is just keep being okay feeling like this, keep being okay with how Justin is pulling things back, keep being okay with how Justin's telling me to ramp up cardio, and we are going to make it. So on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace out, have a good night, and I will see ya in the team.